The basics. Percentages are everywhere, from getting wages, to paying tax, to going to sales, to getting discounts off. Even your cleaning products tell you that they kill 99% of germs. We even use percentages where they're not needed. So here we have some teams and we've got the percentage worked out. But really a ratio between the points scored for and against would suffice. But what is a percentage? Percent is a compound word and can be broken up between per and cent. Cent is derived from the Latin word centum, which means 100. This word gives us century, which means 100 years, and also a centurion, who was a Roman soldier in charge of 100 soldiers. But then the meaning changed. It became a hundredth, as in a cent is a hundredth of a dollar, and centi is a hundredth of a unit, i.e. a centimetre. Per is derived from the Greek word petros, which means rock, but over time has come to mean for each. Percent means either for each 100 or this many hundredths, but it's the first definition that I'm going to use in this video. For example, 30%. There are two ways of thinking about it. Either it's 30 out of each 100 or 30 hundredths. In other words, 30 times 0.01 is equal to 0.3. Let's say there were 100 penguins and you ask them to grab either a hat and an umbrella or a heart and a rose. If 70 of the penguins grabbed a hat and an umbrella and 30 of them grabbed a heart and a rose, then we'd say 70 out of 100 wore hats, i.e. 70%, and 30 out of 100 carried a red rose, i.e. 30%. To calculate a percentage when there is exactly 100 of something, then all we need to do is count. Unfortunately, this basically never happens. This time we have 10 penguins, 7 wearing a hat and 3 carrying a rose. We can't simply count the 7 penguins and say 7% of the penguins wore a hat, because a percentage means for each 100, and here we only have 10. So if we scale up these 10 penguins to 100 while keeping the same ratio, once again we can count. 70 out of the 100 wore hats, i.e. 70%, and 30 out of 100 carried a red rose, i.e. 30%. These are the same percentages as what we had before. 7 out of 10 is 70%, just like 70 out of 100 is 70%. But to do more difficult problems, we're going to require a formula. The first formula that we're going to look at is how many are of interest divided by the total number. So for our example, we had 30 out of 100 penguins carrying a rose, which is 30 divided by 100, which is equal to 0.3. Now this is not a percentage, but it is the decimal equivalent. To work out the percentage, what we do is the same formula as before, but we multiply by 100. So if we use that previous example, 30 divided by 100 times 100 gives us 30%. In this example, we had 16 out of 20 penguins wearing hats. To work out what percentage wore hats, it's 16 divided by 20 times 100, that gives us 80%. So it is worth noticing that even though there were less penguins wearing hats, there were a higher percentage that did. Percentages are useful for comparing, and this is why we use them so often. They can be used to compare groups of different sizes. So before we had one colony with 100 penguins and another with 20. What we do with percentages is we scale the groups so that it can be compared as if there were 100 in each group. Example 2. 15 penguins wore hats and 25 carried flowers. What percentage of penguins carried flowers? We're going to use the same formula as before, but we need to be a little bit more careful. 25 are of interest, but 40 is the total. This comes about from 15 penguins wearing hats and 25 carrying flowers. We multiply by 100 and we get 62.5%. A decimal in a percentage is perfectly okay. In this percentage formula, what would work out is how many there are, which is equal to the percentage divided by 100 multiplied by the total. In this example, there are 60 penguins. 20% of them enjoy painting. How many penguins enjoy painting? So using the formula, 20% divided by 100 multiplied by the total, which was 60, gives us 12. To recap, percent means for each 100. It is also a good way of comparing groups of different sizes. And it can also be used to find out how many are in a group if you know the percentage and the total. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and hit the like button. Please leave a review and a comment. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm an experienced maths teacher with a passion for teaching financial literacy to students. Please read the disclaimer.